Good morning, little Maddie. Time to play. With friends and animals we'll learn today. From A to Z we'll explore with glee. Mornings with Maddie and some animals, please. La la la, it's a magical show. With creatures galore, let's watch them all grow. From A to Z we'll learn together. Mornings with Maddie, it's joy forever. Hello, Maddie, and welcome to a new episode of Mornings with Maddie. Today, we're going to be talking about animals that start with the letter K. Are you ready? If you're ready, say ready. Okay, our first animal that starts with the letter K is kangaroo. And here to tell us about them is Auntie Star.
Hi, Maddie. It's Auntie Star, and we're going to talk about kangaroos. So I'm so happy to co-host today's show. The kangaroo is among the most remarkable leapers of the animal kingdom. They are also bipedal, meaning they walk on two legs. When it's in motion, the kangaroos hop completely clear off the ground, covering up to 30 feet in a single swift motion. And that's a lot, Maddie. And no other large animal of this size has the same ability. As a national symbol of Australia, the kangaroo adores a coat of arms, coins, and even the logos of sports teams and organizations. It has adapted very well to the presence of humans. Kangaroos are marsupials, which mean they carry their young in their pouch. The female kangaroo has a pouch on her belly where the young, called joeys, develop after their birth. They are known for distinctive hopping motion, and they are the only animals to use hopping as the primary means of movement. Their powerful legs are adapted for hopping them to coverage large distance efficiently. They can hop at speeds up to 40 miles an hour. And that's a lot, Maddie. Kangaroos come in various sizes, ranging from the tiny musky rat kangaroo, which is about the size of a rabbit, to the giant red kangaroo, which can stand over 6 feet tall, up to 200 pounds. Other notable species include the eastern gray kangaroo and the western gray kangaroo. Kangaroos are generally a social animal and live in groups known as mobs or troops. These groups vary in size and consist of up to 7 dozen individuals. Within that group, there is a hierarchy structure which dominate individuals assessing control over themselves. The diet of a kangaroo is primarily grasses and other vegetation. Their specialized digestive system also then to extract minimum nutrition from fibrous plant material. They are adapted to survive in arid and semi-arid environments where food may be scarce. Female kangaroos can delay the development of their embryos well in environmental conditions are favorable, a process known as the embryonic dispause. This adaptation allows them to ensure the survival of their offspring in a harsh or unpredictable environment. Kangaroos communicate through various vocalizations, gestures, and postures. They use warning calls to alert others of potential threat and have a different variation for different social interactions, such as mating or aggression. Additionally, they have highly developed sense, including excellent hearing and keen eyesight. And that, Papa Tony, is some interesting facts about kangaroos.
Why, thank you, Auntie Star. That was some very interesting facts about kangaroos indeed. Maddie, next we have Auntie M, and she's going to tell us about katydids.
Thanks, Papa Tony. Maddie, here are some interesting facts about katydids. Katydids are found on every continent except Antarctica. Katydids are a family of primarily nocturnal insects. They closely resemble grasshoppers and used to go by the name long-horned grasshoppers. However, in reality, they are more closely related to crickets, hence their other common name, the bush cricket. Male katydids produce trilling songs through a process known as stridulation. Can you say stridulation? That's kind of a hard word to say. Which they use to attract females. While some katydids are herbivorous, others are carnivores, and many utilize mimicry or camouflage to avoid predators. Did you know that there are over 8,000 known species of katydid, of which the common true katydid is the dominant subspecies in North America? While resting during the day, katydids, Aunt Melissa can't even talk. Katydids disguise themselves as leaves to avoid predators. Some katydids have spines on their bodies that can help them trap and hold on to prey or ward off predators. For some species, you can tell what temperature is outside by the number of chirps the males make in a set period of time. Katydids vary greatly in size depending on the species. That said, most range between 0.2 inches to 5.1 inches. The majority of katydids measure on the larger side of the spectrum, and smaller species tend to live in a drier, more arid region. While katydids appear bright green or mimic the appearance of leaves, they can come in a variety of colors, ranging from pink to yellow. Isn't that cool? One of the most distinctive features of katydids is their wings. Their wings can feature distinctive markings or patterns and can measure large enough to cover nearly the entire body. Some species sport a wingspan that measures nearly 10 inches long. Meanwhile, others have short wings that can render them practically flightless. In addition to long wings, katydids also feature relatively long, thin antennae, unlike grasshoppers, whose antennae normally appear short and thick, thereby allowing you to more easily differentiate the two. It's hard to know for sure how many katydids there are in the world, as they are relatively solitary insects and live in a wide range of habitats. For the most part, katydids' populations appear to be rather stable and do not show any significant signs of decline, except for a few scattered species. Given their distribution and number of species, it's safe to say there are billions or tens of billions of katydids on the earth at one time. And that, Papa Tony, is all I know about katydids.
My Auntie M, that was so interesting. Thank you for helping out today. Do you have a couple more animals that start with the letter K that you can tell us about today?
The king crab is one of the most enormous crab species known to man. It can weigh more than 11 pounds, which is heavier than a house cat. That means it's heavier than Violet and Blue. And have a total leg span of over 5 feet, which means it can be as long as a human is tall. Some of the most popular king crabs are Alaskan king crabs, red king crabs, and Japanese king crabs. They can only grow larger through a process called molting, in which they shed their old shells and grow newer, larger ones. In general, king crabs can be found along the Alaskan coast, in the Bering Sea, and in the shallow waters surrounding the coast of Japan. They are the most popular crab to eat, and their meat is considered a delicacy in most parts of the world. Did you know The heaviest king crab ever found weighed 28 pounds. This is roughly the same weight as a miniature poodle. King crabs are closely related to hermit crabs, and they share the trait of having two differently sized claws. The right claw is typically larger and used to crush things, and the left claw is smaller to make tearing food apart more convenient. King crabs cannot swim as adults. They move around by walking along the ocean floor. Some of the most well-known king crabs originate near the Alaskan coast. These are the four main types. 1. The red king crab, which is also known as the Japanese crab or the Kamchatka crab. Try to say that. Red king crab is the most expensive crab and is very desirable. They can be caught near Bristol Bay. Number 2, the blue king crab is named for the touches of blue on their otherwise brown exoskeleton. The meat from the blue king crab is sometimes mistaken for red king crab meat because of its red and orange colorization. These crabs can be caught in the areas near St. Matthew Island. Number 3, the brown or golden king crab is named for its gold and brown shell. These smaller crabs can be harvested close to the Aleutian Islands. However, they deliver less meat than their larger cousins. And finally, the 4th king crab is the scarlet king crab, and it is known for its bright red shell. These crabs are not hunted in the same amount as the other Alaskan king crabs due to their smaller population. Like most crab species, king crabs are covered in a thick and heavy shell, which is usually called carapace. In addition, their entire bodies are covered in large, sharp spines for additional protection. Outside of the mating season, king crabs are solitary creatures. However, they have been known to group together in the face of large predators. They will stack on top of one another in what is known as a pod in order to appear larger and more menacing. These pods can be dozens of feet high and contain stacks of hundreds of crabs. Male king crabs usually grow to be larger than females, and they can be easily identified by their different body shapes. Female king crabs have a wide, fan-shaped abdomen, and males have a narrow, triangular-shaped abdomen. King crabs have 5 pairs of legs. The first pair of legs actually functions more like arms, and each has a sharp pincher attached to the end. The right claw is larger and thicker, and it is designed for crushing, and the left claw is smaller and designed to tear apart food. The 5th set of legs is also different from the rest. These legs are smaller and specialized in aiding the crabs in egg fertilization during mating and cleaning fertilized eggs after they have been laid. That, Papa Tony, is all I have for today regarding the king crabs. Next, I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite animals that starts with the letter A, the koala. Are you ready? Maddie, are you ready? Say ready. All right, Auntie M here talking to you about the koala. The koala is one of the most loved mammals in the entire world, with its adorable round face, unique little nose, and gentle demeanor. The name koala actually comes from the language of the Aborigines and is believed to mean no drink. Ironically, koalas don't need to consume much water like most animals because the eucalyptus leaves they eat hydrate them naturally. The koala is a small to medium-sized mammal that is found inhabiting a variety of different types of forest in southeastern Australia. Despite its appearance and the fact that it is known as the koala bear, koalas are actually marsupials, but are so distinctive amongst this specialty adapted family of mammals that they are classified in a scientific group of their own. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Although they are now considered to be one of Australia's most iconic mammal species, when European settlers first arrived, things were very different. With millions of koalas known to have been killed every year for their fur, the koala is a unique animal that famously feeds only on the leaves of the eucalyptus trees in which they inhabit. However, this diet is very hard to digest and lacks many of the vital nutrients that are key to the survival of most animal species. Today, the koala is affected by habitat loss as vast areas of land are cleared every year to support growing development. There are 3 distinctive types of koalas on the region of Australia that inhabit the color of their fur. The first is the brown koala, native to the Victorian region of Australia. Other names, Victorian koala and southern koala. Brown koalas have the thickest coat of the species to keep them all warm in the cooler climate. They are the largest type of koala. There are up to 28,000 brown koalas in Victoria and 19,000 in southern Asia. Number 2 is the grey koala, native to Queensland, Australia. The grey koalas have thin grey fur and are the smallest types. Other names, northern koala, Queensland koala. This type is the most threatened. And number 3 is the grey-brown koalas, native to New South Wales, Australia. These koalas have grey-brown fur and face extinction with only 16,000 left in the wild. Other names, koalas of New South Wales, greyish-brown koalas. The koala is the most charismatic of all the marsupials, with its large, wide face and round, white tufted ears, giving its appearance of a small bear. Along with its lack of visible tail and smooth black nose, the koala has dense, soft gray or gray-brown fur, which is lighter on the underside and molted on the rear. Because koalas spend most of their time living in trees, they have evolved several adaptations to help them with their lifestyles, including having short, powerful limbs tipped with sharp claws. Having 2 opposable thumbs and 3 fingers on each hand means that koalas can even grip the smoothest bark when climbing and feeding in the trees. Koalas also have human-like fingerprints. Having 2 opposable thumbs, koalas move about the trees by jumping, first gripping the trunk with the front paws, helped by the rough paw pads and claws, before moving both their back legs up the tree together, allowing them to get higher and higher and higher up. The koala would have been once widespread throughout southeastern Australia and on a number of its surrounding islands, but populations, particularly in the south, were wiped out in some areas due to hunting. They are, however, surprisingly resilient and adaptable animals that are known to inhabit various types of forest, from the tall eucalyptus forest to the coastal regions and even low-lying woodlands further inland. Even though they are common in much of their natural range today, land clearance not only meant a loss of their habitats, but also separates populations from one another, making them more and more isolated. It is not just the loss of habitat to human activity, though that has led to population declines in certain areas, as quick spreading forest fires can devastate vast areas of land, minutes, and severely affecting the local koala population in the process. And that's what I know about koalas, Papa Tony.
Auntie Em, you really know a lot about animals that start with the letter K. I really appreciate you telling us all about them today, and I'm sure Maddie does too. Don't you, Maddie? Well, that's all we have time for today, Maddie. We will see you soon with animals that start with the letter L, as in love you, Maddie.